welcome to this Plan B planning committee for the Town Council. Before we start, can I welcome you all? In all the years I've been doing it, we've never had this big an audience, so I welcome you all. I'll just introduce who we have got here tonight. As I said earlier, I'm David Heritage. I chair this committee. I'm also the Town Councillor for the south of Harpenden. I also am a District Councillor, and I do sit on the Planning Committee at the District Council. I'll explain more about that in a moment. We also have here
Rob Cooley. I'm a Town Councillor for Harpenden South.
And we have...
And I'm Georgie Talley, and I'm a Town Councillor for Harpenden North.
And this is my officer from the Town Council who looks after planning for me. Just to inform you all, this meeting is recorded. As long as you're all happy to be on the be recorded, we have cameras in the room. It'll be on the internet in a couple of days' time. So as long as you're all happy with being recorded, we'll start the meeting. Right, we start off with apologies for absence.
Yes, Chairman, we have apologies from the Council.
Okay, we haven't got a replacement, so we're three councillors here tonight. Any declarations of interest? No? No? Good, thank you. Right, are you happy with me to sign the minutes of the last meeting?
Yes.
Yeah. Good, thank you so much. Do we have any public questions in accordance with our standing orders?
No.
Good. Right, now we go through the list of applications. As I said earlier, the Salisbury Avenue first, and then Whiting's Close, so that it doesn't delay you all. Just if I can explain to those of you who don't know how the system works. We at the Town Council are here purely in an advisory. We have no power. So tonight, whatever we say is passed on to St Albans, where the officers note the comments we've made, sometimes ignore it, sometimes listen to it, but it is actually put on the internet attached to the application as it stands. As you know, a planning application comes into here, and it also goes to the District Council. The District Council officers look through them, and if a councillor, this is a District Councillor, not a Town Councillor, sees that there is a question on planning terms, there's an expression, calls it in, which means it will be deliberated by the Planning Committee, which is a group of 8 district councillors that's discussed at the District Council. I'm one of those councillors. Those of you here for the Salisbury Avenue application, Mr Goodman knows the system probably better than I do, and he will explain to you about getting hold of your local district councillor to arrange for it to be called in. we have a time limit on this, so it's something that needs to be done relatively quickly. The same thing does apply to the Whitings Close application. You need to get hold of your district councillor. Sadly, I'm not one that covers either of these two areas, so I can't do it for you. If you want it, and then they, as long as we can find a planning reason, will call it into committee, and then that will be deliberated at the district council in a month or so's time, depending how long the officers take to actually deliver it. The system goes that if the officer makes the decision to grant the application without it being called in, there is no comeback. That is a final decision, other than taking it to the High Court. If the officer recommends refusal of it, an applicant can appeal to the planning inspectorate in Bristol, and then the inspector will make a decision of how they see the application. Slightly different system operates when it comes to committee in respect of the 8 councillors decide on it. Likewise, if they recommend refusal, then the applicant can still appeal to the officer in Bristol. If they recommend approval of the application, then that's the final thing. It doesn't go any further. It's granted. Okay. If anybody ever needs any help or guidance, the team here with Miriam and Heather, we are 2 planning people here, but I'm always willing to help anybody and guide them on any planning, explaining how the district council works if anybody needs to. The speakers we have tonight, you've got 3 minutes. I allow them to come up and sit at the desk here and address us, whether it be for or against an application, and we will make comments accordingly. Okay, so we'll start off with Salisbury. So I'll just
it's on page 15.
thank you. Right. So this is application 5 2017 1731. It's a change of use from class C2 care home to class C3 residential, and the construction of additional 3-storey buildings to incorporate 11 apartments with undercroft parking facilities, rooftop patios, office and associated landscaping, following the demolition of the existing single and 2-storey extensions at Redcliffe 21 Salisbury Avenue. Right, so first of all, on this one we only have one speaker against, which is Mr. Goodman. Please, you've got your 3 minutes. Come on.
I do have a copy of my speech, Chairman, if you think it would be appropriate to circulate it for members' benefit.
If you've got a copy, we can keep them on file. Yes, indeed, but always welcome to hear what you say.
Chairman, I represent 12 households at present in the vicinity of the application site who are concerned about this proposal. Whilst there is no objection in principle to the use or to reasonable extensions, the scale, size, form and appearance of this particular scheme is simply inappropriate and causes real planning harm. It's a lost opportunity. The property falls, as you know, within the conservation area and is locally listed. Therefore, the bar of acceptability is somewhat higher than otherwise would be the case. Much of the pre-application advice obtained by the applicants in March of this year from the Planning Authority has simply not been addressed. In fact, there are serious drawbacks of the scheme which leads to its unacceptability. Number 1, scale, mass and height. The 3-storey rear and side extension at 11 metres high is between 2.5 and 3 metres higher than the existing on site. It will tower and overwhelm its neighbours, notwithstanding the changes in gradient. The rear built extension facing Rosebery Avenue will be 34 metres long, nearly 3 times the width of a normal house. Around the site, the 3-storey form is continuous without interruption. The proposed street elevation, which you have before you, is submitted clearly shows a continuous ridge level at 3 stories with excessive bulk, mass and unrelieved height. 2. The 3-storey side extension will be dominating and imposing structure when viewed from both 25 Townsend Lane and 25 Salisbury Avenue to the northwest, where there's a marked difference in land levels, with the ridge height of these 2 houses between 4 and 5 metres lower than the proposal. 3. The new 3-storey roof extension is not only higher, but is 4 metres closer to the boundary with Rosebery Avenue properties to the rear. 4. There'll be a flat roof above the extension of some 225 square metres, a massive area, totally out of keeping with existing roof forms within the conservation area. 5. Balconies will be provided within 8 metres of boundaries. Overlooking of neighbouring properties will arise. Policy 70 of the local plan is clearly breached. 6. Internally, there will be poor living conditions for future occupiers. For example, the kitchen to apartment 16 has no outlook. Habitable room windows face each other at less than 6 metres apart in the case of apartments 3 and 6, and 7.5 metres in the case of apartments 2 and 10. Policy 70 requires 27 metres. Furthermore, there's no dedicated, usable communal amenity space. Overall, Chairman, the applicants have failed to respond to the criticisms contained in the pre-application advice from the District Council and propose a scheme that which does not reach the necessary threshold set in national planning policy of preserving or enhancing the character and appearance of the conservation area. There's furthermore clear evidence of potential adverse impact on neighbouring residential occupiers, the local street scene, and a precedent for further erosion of character. Thank you.
At the time, you said it was 2 minutes 59, I'll let you off.
Yeah, sorry, I lost the seconds.
Right, now, I just want to be corrected. We haven't got a speaker speaking for this application, have we? I don't want to miss somebody. No, okay. Right. Over to my committee.
So,
Right.
I'm really concerned about this application. I think it couldn't be better than the 15. I think I'm not averse to the change of use. If it had just been a change of use, I think it might have been slightly different. But I feel that the new building is completely inappropriate for the site that it's on. It's overbearing. It's not in keeping with the street scene. Pretty much every planning consideration that we would ever say as an objection, and I don't even know about parking. I haven't seen that come on here. So I think it's a clear-cut recommendation.
Well, I support a lot of comments by Councillor Keller. I think it is sort of huge, massive, and there's no real character to this sort of massive building, actually. I think that I saw something like down that there was only 1 parking space per flat, and I don't know whether that is a problem as far as the sort of parking. Okay, so I think it's a severe loss of a meaningful property. There is a technical point, which is, I don't know if you saw this from the Leeds Local Flood Authority, where they haven't received a surface water drainage assessment. This is just a technical point, but they recommend refusal until that is provided. It is just a technical point, but should be noted, I think. So my take would be recommend refusal.
Okay. Right, visited the site today. I certainly taking with them the pictures that we've managed to extract from the internet. I was astounded what they were trying to build, even behind the hoardings that are there at the moment. Certainly, I think my colleagues have drawn attention to it, as indeed Mr Goodman has, serious concerns on this one. Quite frankly, they've just gone too far. I think the site is a large site. I think something will be built there, and I'm not anti the listed building being converted into flats. But I'm very much against a 3-storey modern tower being built behind, or indeed wrapped around the existing building. I think serious concerns have it for the impact on all the neighbouring properties. It is in the conservation area, and also reading the tree report, which I did earlier on this afternoon, I'm still alarmed how many trees they think are no use. They can chop down. I hope that the officers in St Albans clearly point out to them that it is in the conservation area, and they've got to put a separate application in to cut down any of the trees that are there. So that would be my first point. But certainly, it's too big, it's too near the borders. I hadn't noted the things that Mr Goodman had picked up regarding the distances between windows, but it's completely out of keeping with that area. Certainly we, from the Town Council, as I said earlier, we haven't really got any power, but we will be recommending that the district councils refuse this application and send it back to the drawing board. That's something I think will be built there eventually, but I hope not the current application. Are we all happy with that? So we'll recommend for overdevelopment, insufficient parking, because only allowed 14 spaces, there's no visitors parking, the loss of the trees, the design, which I think is horrendous, the mass and the volume, the closeness to the respective borders, and indeed the window distances, which has just been looked at. And it is in the, we've got the conservation area on the application. So all these things, I hope the district council officers will look at this very carefully and will say no. I mean, I hope it comes to committee at the district council, and the 8 councillors who are there get a chance to deliberate it in that respect. But I do feel that the officers might just recommend refusal, in which case it probably won't even come to committee, because once it's refused by the officers, it doesn't need to. But watch this space, and I leave the next move in your hands to get it called in. But we can't take it any further. So
we include this technical point?
Yep, I mean, my colleagues raised a technical point that the application can't even be considered until they've provided a drainage statement, which they haven't done at the moment. But we'll make sure that's done. So, has anybody got any questions? You know, anything else I can help you with on the Salisbury Avenue application? Mr Goodman's your expert. He'll guide you with what you need to do next. Okay? So, the Salisbury Avenue people, very welcome to stay. If you want to go, please feel free. If you want to escape in that respect, but entirely up to you.
Thank you.
Anyway.
Right, okay.
Go on, well.
Right, for the rest of you here, we've now gone to the Whiting's Close application. So it's 5/2017-1600, two-storey side extension to create two one-bedroom flats and detached two-storey block containing four one-bedroom flats, associated parking and landscaping, new crossover at 13 Whiting's Close. Now, on this one, I know we've got somebody speaking for it and somebody speaking against it. So we want, first of all, speaker Mr. Hadlow, who's going to speak against this application. Please come and sit to our seat, and you've got 3 minutes to have your thing.
Right, okay. All 19 households are aware of the proposed development in number 13 and have voiced their objection to it. They wish the following concerns to be considered by the planning committee. The safety impact, conflict between traffic turning, reversing and traffic accessing and egressing the proposed site with each other and pedestrians using the busy public footpath. Also the tunnelling effect of the public footpath between number 12 and the four flat blocks. The parking impact. The number of additional spaces proposed is insufficient. Each of the 6 flats could generate 2 cars each without considering visitor parking requirements. In addition, 2 on-road parking spaces would be lost in order to allow access to the proposed new site. Pickford Hill cannot be considered to park in Oversville as stated, as there is already conflict with Pickford Hill Flats residents parking their vehicles in Whiting's Close. The proposal represents gross overdevelopment of a greenfield urban garden. National and local policies recommend refusal of such developments. The development of single bedroom flats is at odds with all other 3-bed plus family occupied properties, representing a change in the dynamics of the road. The very high density of the dwellings on the site, we estimate that's greater than 100 dwellings per hectare. The visual amenity impact. The terracing effect of the 2-flat block with existing number 13 is not set back, and its lack of symmetry with other properties. Its combined infilling effect with the 4-flat block, which can be clearly seen on the amended street view drawing. The excessive height of the proposed flats over existing properties. The sewer capacity. The proposal represents a 50% increase in dwellings feeding into the system. The environmental impact. Virtually complete loss of garden wildlife habitat to hard landscaping, currently home to birds, bats, deer, badgers and numerous reptiles. The potential for flash flooding. The narrowness of the access for emergency vehicles and the effect on road fire hydrant provision. The lack of provision for storage of bicycles and waste bins. The 4-flat block appears to be built on the boundary without any setback, and the northwest corner of the 2-flat block appears to be outside the property boundary. Unfortunately, this cannot be confirmed because the drawings supplied with the application appear to be incorrect as they extend to the road curbside, which cannot be correct. The lack of dimensions on any drawing makes it difficult to assess the position of the flats. We also looked at the market for 1-bedroom flats. We believe it's well catered for. There are presently 11 in the area for rent and 5 for sale. We trust you will give all the above your full consideration. Thank you.
Thanks so much indeed. Now we've got Miss... Can you read it? Sorry, my apologies. Sorry, my colleague's writing. Who's speaking for the application?
Yeah, Chairman, I'd just...
Likewise, you've got 3 minutes.
Yeah, no, indeed. I'd firstly just like to acknowledge and respect the number of people that have turned out tonight in opposition. I think that is very good in terms of valuing the process. I also, to your point before, we're sharing Councillor Michael Wakely called it in today.
Yeah,
so it's called in for committee. That was on the website there. And a very coherent opposition as well. I think, just to put in the case for, we recently purchased 13 Whiting's Close. It was in a poor state of repair, and we have been looking at how the appropriate way of both refurbishing the existing house and developing the garden to the side. It's a 3-bedroom house, ex-local authority. It's in a cul-de-sac of similar properties. The existing house has 1 parking space provided presently. The application is in three parts. There's the refurbishment of the existing house and the creation of 2 off-road parking spaces to the front. There's an extension to the existing house of a similar size and design to 3 other extensions in the road, and that extension will be subdivided into 2 one-bedroom apartments, as you acknowledged earlier. The remaining garden then is large enough to accommodate further development, and what we've talked about is a new apartment block of 4 one-bedroom apartments with associated parking. In total, we're creating 10 parking spaces, which is an increase of 9 over the existing house. The 10 spaces equals 1 for each of the apartments, 2 for the house, and 2 further visitor spaces in addition to those one-bedroom provision. However, cycle storage is also provided, as well as a bus stop within 100 metres, providing alternative public transport to Harpenden. The site accommodates necessary compliant garden space to the house. Additional amenity space to the apartment is then provided via a mix of rear and front community space. In addition, the site abuts a wide footpath, giving a feeling of space together with access to the countryside at the rear. The design ethos of the proposed construction is to use matching brick, tile and windows to ensure the new properties fit into the street scene and the vernacular, which is very dominant in that road. Much of the infill development in Harpenden involves the provision of high-value homes out of reach of those with modest incomes. These properties are different and will be rented at rates which will be very much at the lowest for the town. To provide quality housing, thus enabling a more diverse mix of people to remain in the town, whilst not affordable, in planning terms, this is affordable by design, and we should keep it and retain it that way. And I think finally, and this is to remind you, and I know you're all aware of this, the St Albans housing strategy requires 586 houses a year to be constructed. The 6 new properties therefore provide 1% of the district's housing on this one site. And as a resident of Harpenden myself, we're responding to the desire for new homes that limits the overall impact on new build development elsewhere in areas of green space and garden that we feel is uncomfortable with. So that really is the case we would make for. Thank you.
So I think this is a difficult one because I actually think that this is the kind of building that we do need in Harpenden. I feel that, especially as with our local planning discussions that we've been having recently, there is a lack of 1, 2 and 3 bedroom properties in our neighbourhood. This is generally, we're not talking about a specific site here, so it's nice to see that there are proposals starting to come through for that kind of dwelling. I think it's difficult because some of the, obviously very well spoken, some of the objections to it are not actually planning considerations. And the one thing I did notice was I'm a bit concerned about it being overdevelopment of the site in terms of, I can understand there is space in the garden to perhaps build something, but actually is that something effectively for dwellings? I think it's a tricky one, and something I did put was the parking, and I just wanted your thoughts on whether what the parking, I can't remember how many spaces they're supposed to provide for each dwelling.
It's slightly under, but it's commensurate with other properties in the area.
The other thing I'll say to that is it's just the end of the cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
As far as I know, so I can tell.
And the other thing that
there's no other parking. Yes, sorry.
And then the other thing that was concerning was normally I wasn't quite sure about if there was the curb, just because I know we had that other application recently where we weren't sure if some of the county council's land had been included in the plan because it was right on the curb, and it had just been bordered over. Do you remember that came from place? Yeah, and so I wondered if that might be a similar issue that the gentleman, as the objection gentleman was talking about.
You see, it said you cross over the existing crossover unit, so contact two crossovers. Well, please,
I've
I'll come back to you.
visited the site, and I feel that this road is chock-a-block with vehicles. It's incredibly difficult, it must be very difficult for the residents to park along it. And I appreciate more parking has been put here, but I do take on board that some parking is being lost for local residents. I've got no objection to building flats, because we do need, as Councillor Callan said, that sort of flat. And I just wonder whether we're trying to put too many
in one
in one space. That's my feeling. Because we're talking about parking, and I think it's a little unclear as to just how much parking there is. And since parking is at a premium down that road, I have to say. So I don't know how we can squeeze in additional properties that
Did
might make it worse.
you feel it was potentially an overdevelopment when you...
I think visually I didn't actually have too much of a problem when I went down the road. It seemed to me to be more of a natural extension.
Yeah.
I can understand all the concerns about that sort of thing, but it's just really the fact that there's a lot of more through traffic for this development, and if there are extra visitors coming in, where would they park? That's my worry. So I just feel maybe we're trying to squeeze too many places in.
I don't see. I've been called in, and Councillor Harrison's won't say too much.
No, I never get too involved in the debate on it, because I've got to speak at the Plans North Committee, and I don't want anybody to come along and say I've prejudged the application. The concern that I have as exists at the moment is the proximity to the public footpath, because it looks like the building's been built right up to it over probably a narrow hedge. And secondly is the applicant is trying to create a second crossover at the junction of the cul-de-sac. Now, as far as I know, the county council are refusing anybody asking for a second drop-down curve if already one exists. It's to stop. We had a spate of people asking for drop-down curves throughout Harpenden because people were using it to stop people parking outside their houses. There already is an existing one here, and to create a new one for the parking in the extension to the existing property, I think the county council would say no. I can't prove that. Everything can be changed, but certainly recently, the applications that I've seen, the county council has said no second drop-down curve, especially in this instance, because it is the end of the cul-de-sac which needs to be kept completely clear for vehicles to turn around. So I think there may be a problem anyway in the parking situation. The fact that there is 6 spaces at the rear of it, and we need the possibility to exit these vehicles also is great concern. We had a similar application up the road at Cross Farm not too long ago, and a very similar situation to this in respect of trying to construct like another house in the back garden, and the county council said that because of the way the parking was configured, vehicles should not have to reverse out onto a road, even a cul-de-sac. So I am concerned about it. I'm not going into too much details because if it comes to my committee, I've got to speak at length at the St Albans Council. But I do raise my colleagues' concern. I'm concerned about it, and I think from our point of view, I'm reluctant to support the application as it stands. I mean, it's purely on the provisions for parking, and indeed the parking exit out onto the close. Because if anybody parks at the end of that close there,
Yeah, that's right.
you couldn't get out.
Organised a bit, because I'm thinking about the emergency vehicle access as well. If this block of flats caught fire, you know, you need to provide provision for the firemen to come
Yeah.
and provision.
So I completely agree with both those points, and I think they are I think they're the strongest points in terms of going forward with the concerns around this development. I am minded at the moment to express concern rather than recommend refusal, based on those two things. So it would be both parking and the proximity to public footpath and the turnovers and the crossovers and the turning circles, because I feel that something on that site and actually potentially apartments isn't actually the worst thing in the world, but those things that are actually going to have a negative impact on neighbouring properties and have an impact on the road, I feel that should be recognised in our what we're saying.
Just bringing things back to basics the other way, the other concern I would have, obviously, that the refuse vehicle comes into the cul-de-sac. Well, bear in mind we've got 4 flats here.
Yeah.
I suppose on paper they could be all allocated 3 bins each. Then the extension onto the house, which has got and that. So we're going to have 16 bins outside that need to be wheeled to that end of the close, and indeed the only place for them to be left, they can't be left on the public footpath, would be to be left on the road that people have to get out of from the existing parking.
Yeah.
So no real provision has been thought in this for the possibility that there could be 16 bins there on a Monday morning or the day the collection is. So I think serious consideration has to be seen for this. But as we said, my colleague recommends that we raise serious concern for the layout, the provision, parking, both parking as parking and parking exit from the site. And I would like to add to it provision for the refuse collection, or indeed where the refuse vehicles refuse is actually going to be stored. Because there's no, on the diagram it doesn't actually suggest where it's going to be stored for 4 flats.
Yeah.
Well,
There's anything else you'd like to add?
Well, I personally think it should be refused, actually. But,
What? Well, we can recommend refusal as it states as its form is at the moment.
Basically, the result of that usually is that all of the work necessary to make something far more practical then takes place, and you end up with a scheme which is a good compromise. I think that's, you know, I think it's a good idea to build flats and parking, and it's just
so the scheme as it exists at the moment, we're recommending refusal.
Yes.
For the reasons that we've mentioned.
We're not objecting in principle to the idea.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think possibly something will be built there eventually.
Yes.
I just think at the moment it's just too much.
Yeah. I think especially when we've covered the public access angles, I think that is that's going to have a major impact on the surrounding roads. So I think I agree with you.
Okay. So that's as far as we can go as a committee. We're going to recommend to St Albans, but as far as we see with the design and the layout at the moment, that we think it should be refused and sent back to the thing. But obviously, it will be, if the officer recommends approval of the scheme, it will come to committee at St Albans. It'll be in about, I'm not sure the timing, I think because of summer holidays, it'll probably be in 6 to 8 weeks' time. It will show on the internet what date it's due. if anybody wants to give me a call, I'll try and keep you up to date with what date it might come. The system at the district council works rather similar to this, other than the fact there's 8 councillors and 4 officers there and a legal man. And again, somebody will be allowed 3 minutes to speak, both for and indeed against the application. But that's as far as we can go in our thoughts. Is that okay? I mean, I'm happy to answer any particular question if you want to do. Anybody wants to raise anything? Sorry, please.
Just want to say one thing, quick one. We potentially have another 5 or 6 drivers. We have the lady here, got 2 young children. They're going to drive soon.
So it doesn't matter how many people come, you just got one person to speak. So I understand your point. Yeah, you know, I try to be fair to everybody. I understand your concerns, which I listen to, and indeed the council would listen to at the district. My recommendation at the moment to you all is that whatever your points are, if you write to you've got the planning application number, it's on the internet anyway, but you write to the district council and log your concerns with all the details of, and this will show on the application all the way through. Okay? Sorry.
You've covered my point, thank you very much.
Okay, yes, sorry. You know...
Can you just challenge the need for more flats? We've had Lodge Park, which I think is something like 80 flats recently built in that area. Do we really need more of that?
I'm sorry.
No, okay.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'll happily have this discussion outside this planning committee, but really it's very difficult for us to do. We have to find a planning reason, as indeed, and the rules at the district council are even tighter than here, because it's serious planning law. Because I'm a bit more laid back here. I'm trying to help all I can do, but no, there needs to be a planning reason for refusal, or indeed a planning reason for approval of any application, and that's as far as it can go. Sadly, we have no power here. You know, it just the comments that we make just get added to the application on the internet. So we as a town council, we get mixed up. We as a town council just make our comments on every application, as indeed we've got sort of another 50 to go through tonight, which I don't expect you to listen to, but we do comment, but we don't, you know, in the long run, it's the district's the legal body. Okay, so again, as I said earlier, anybody's willing to stay, you can happily leave if you want to. That's the decision that we are recommending to go forward to St Albans.
Can I just confirm, so your decision at this current stage is to refuse?
Our recommendation
your
is that we would refuse it. Now, when it comes to committee in St Albans, I have to make a declaration that I'm looking at things afresh, which I have to do because I get the officers' report, which quite often makes me, because they're obviously qualified planning officers, they would give a reason for why they think it should be granted or refused. That's when, you know, sometimes swings your thoughts one way or the other. But that, as I said, you're all welcome to come along to that committee meeting, which the district council officers, you know, we quite often end up with quite a lot of people there, so it's an interesting evening.
Yeah, 14th of August.
But it might not, depending how many applications they've got to process, it might not get to the committee on that date. Okay? But if I can help anybody, you know, I'm always just at the end of the phone. Is that okay? That's okay.
Thank you, Stan.
Right, thank you, Mr. Stanley. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I can't be fair to everyone.
No, it was a very useful conversation. I mean, as a developer,
I'm here to help you, all them. You don't
as I say, I respect the number of people turn up, and I think we will. I think we'll probably withdraw and consider the way.
I mean, my recommendation would be, with that number of your local residents, in being involved, to involve them with your thoughts and see what they would be happy with.
Yeah,
I mean,
no, that's fair, and I think it's always difficult to surface.
yes.
But as a number of people turn up, I think to withdraw and consider. I think is what I will do, because I don't think the officers will waste their time going all those.
Well, yes, I can't. Unfortunately, I can't.
No. But it's
I can't make their decision for them.
No.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for your welcome.
You're right. We're not going away, if you want it.
But welcome.
Right. Yeah, fine. You all happy with that? Very happy with that.
Very happy.
The applicant was happy with the way we debated it. He realised of the opposition, and he says, "We might as well withdraw it rather than go through." Which is
Very good.
yes, I mean, well, very well done, team. Okay. I'll get more now.
Well, can you have your water?
Yes, sorry.
Yes.
Oh, I can.
Right.
Thank
Do
you.
this one for me as well.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Right. Now we'll whisk through from back to page 9.
Page 9.
Are we all set? Right, 5/2017, 1755, single-storey front and rear extension and enlargement of rear decking at 52 Tuffnells Way. There seems to be lots of things on here from 2012 with roof conversion. That was refused. Oh, there were 2 roof conversions which have been refused. So. I like what Mim said, I've said, neighbours at the moment haven't objected, have they? Certainly at lunchtime.
The rear extension is 3.6 metres by 4.5 metres. It extends to the side boundary, but away from the property boundary and the property. Front extension increase alongside the garage to allow for new opening into the side of the garage on the way. I didn't feel that there was a problem. There was also an increase in the size of the decking area which has been raised, but I don't think it will impact on the property.
No. Well, the neighbour property hasn't objected at this moment, as long as they don't.
As long as they haven't gone right
Too
high.
Yes. But of course, we
Yes,
can't go the rear of the property and have a
No,
look.
that's right. I think it sounds okay.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
Happy with that one?
Yeah.
Right. Next one, 5/2017, 1787. Oh, we don't have involved in that, so no comment car by committee. Next one, 5/2017, 1788. 2-storey side and single-storey rear extension with roof lights for demolition of the garage. New vehicle access and crossover. 17 Melbourne Gardens.
Crossover.
Likewise, the neighbour hasn't objected at the moment.
No, they are going from taking 4 to 6.
New parking space.
Second story building line comes out in line with the building line of the neighbouring property at number 15. So I didn't feel that was particularly a problem because it was in line. The additional rear extension of single story is the width of the original house, so that's not a problem. They're extending the garage at the rear and turning it into a gantry as well. The front of the rear, the front of the garage must be okay. I think they were picked up if they had a problem with parking. Oh yeah, building second story over the garage and side and rear accommodate 2 additional bedrooms. I can't see a problem.
Yeah, so it's plots that come from
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
set back from the road, aren't they?
Yeah. It's not been a problem, otherwise I'd have
No.
picked it
I
up.
think we can.
Then,
Give you a recommendation.
Yeah, I think we can do that.
No, as long as it's not, as you said, as long as there's no
Well, we
noise
can,
ambiguity.
No,
cover it with the parking space.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, okay, yes, I'll do that.
We just double checked that.
Yep.
Right, next one's discharge of conditions, we didn't worry about that. One after that, 2017-1783, single story rear extension, no problem with that, high first.
No.
No. Next one, certificate of lawfulness. I don't think we need to worry too much about that. It's only a single story side extension anyway. Next one, certificate of lawfulness. Also, don't need to worry about that. Right, next one, 2017-1858. Single story rear extension with roof lights on front porch. 8th paddock roof.
Yeah, I basically covered, because it's got tree protection orders on the line of trees on the side of the property at the back.
Right.
I wasn't quite sure whether they would, because they're going to be moving up the tree, but I wasn't quite sure. That's probably not the one that I just wanted to make sure that the trees were covered. So that's why I put it
Yeah,
in.
no,
What I put in, but the rest of it was okay.
yeah, no, that's all that.
Yep, look good.
Right, next, 2017. 1696. Installation of 3 additional windows. Reference to research.
Yeah. Even minor.
Again, minor, yeah, I mean, no objection.
No?
As long as the appropriate design, locally listed,
Yeah.
no problem. Next one, 2017-1701, outdoor seating area under existing canopy. Is this Waitrose?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where the trolleys are.
Oh, with the trolley, we're going to put seating area there.
Yeah, well, they're going to halve it and put some trolleys there.
So where the rest of the trolleys go?
Further around the side.
Are they? Oh, happy.
I guess we always have a lot of trolleys there, and they might not need as many trolleys as they do have
So
there.
they're going to have like half the area, so it's going to be like trolleys, and then the other half of the road of trolleys are going to go and then they're going to have like 2 lots of benches.
Yeah, they've got the pictures here, the
Yeah.
benches,
They're there.
campaign signs.
Are they there? I might.
So you're going to have about 8 seats. Is it 8 seats?
There's a good point, Lou. 4 covered picnic benches, so that would be 8 seats.
Yeah, look there.
Oh, right.
So you can see them trolleys there,
Mhm.
and they're going to put 2 planters there along the line of the pathway, and then you're going to have 2 lots of seats there, and then the rest of the trolleys are going to be on the side.
So you have to encourage people to sit and have their lunch outside.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
My mum works at Waitrose.
Yeah.
Do I need to go and check?
I don't think this particular one's not really planning again.
Yeah.
It's only putting benches out.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to worry too much. It's not insufficient concern, but it's not. Sorry, what?
Well, my only concern was whether there's enough space.
Well, as long as it doesn't overlap onto the actual pavement. I think it's under the canopy, so
Yeah.
But I thought in principle, it sounded quite nice.
I like to support it.
Somewhere just, you can sit down. Particularly as in
Good
Martin,
addition to
when
the town.
you're younger. What's that, sorry?
Go on,
Good addition to the town.
go on,
Yes.
sit and eat your Marks and
That's right.
Spencer sandwich there.
Yes.
No, your Waitrose sandwich there.
No, I don't see it. No problem with that at all.
Yes.
Right, next one, discharge of conditions, we don't worry about that. 13 Whiting's Close we've done.
Yep.
Not to worry about that. Right. 5, 2017, 1729, erections of 2 5-bedroom detached dwellings with integrated garages and associated landscaping following demolition of existing dwelling. I think it's already been demolished at 20 Swansea Avenue. I like what we said last time, and quite frankly, my opinion has not changed.
Yeah, I agree. I'm a bit concerned that it's been demolished without planning permission. Yeah.
Well, I think it probably was granted.
Yeah, it was granted.
It has been granted by the district permit, you see.
Yeah.
So, but I think now they're just trying to.
They flipped the original design so that the single story rear is now on the side of the neighbour rather than on the inside of the house. So it's flipped from what I could see. But we had a problem with it last time, so that's why I put what I put, that we had no objection in principle to what they've done, but we still had concerns.
Yeah, I think we have to keep.
Yeah.
Peaceful line, yeah, I agree.
I think we have to agree with what we said before.
Yeah,
Yes.
I agree.
Yeah. Concern. Yeah. 2017, 1805, 2-story side extension, 15 Roxham Way. Again, I think there's a problem.
Neighbour property 17, is that 14 15?
Is that having an extra bedroom? Just in that
Yeah, actually, it is. Because what they've done is they've counted bedroom 2 twice. That's what I'm looking at. Yeah.
I mean, on the plan, is there sufficient unless we can just...
So they've got this parking provision problem there.
Well, the existing was the 2 to 3 cars, I think.
How many bedrooms we got?
1 from 3 to 4.
If they've got 2 to 3 cars, that's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're all right.
Sounds all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's okay. Right, 2017, 1832, part single, part 2-story, front, side and rear extensions with rear and side roof lights and new basement to the side. Conversion of habitable space to integral garage, alterations to openings, introduction of sun pipes to the roof. 3 Lyndhurst Drive.
I didn't have a problem with this one. The garage is being retained and the current parking spot, so although they seem to be doing a fair bit of work.
So can I just check?
Yeah, sure.
If I read the English on this, so they're making a garage out of something that was habitable space. Is that correct? Conversion of habitable space
to integral garage. Yes, so it seems as though it's usually the other way
Yeah,
around.
Yes, I think what they're doing is swapping the garage around of the house to the
Well, it does make sense because you can't parking the road isn't very easy in those cars, is it? And there is good spots, but you don't want to be on the road.
If you look at the existing, at the front, and that's the garage there. This is, I kept looking at this one, and I think garage there.
Oh yes, you're right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think they're moving it over.
Yeah, they're moving it from one
Yeah,
side to
that's
the
right.
other. You're right. That existing area was there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No objections.
No, subject to no loss of amenities to next door. Right, 2017, 1840, first floor side extension, pitch roof canopy to front elevation, on alterations to the openings, 121 Crabtree Lane. Yes, very concerned on the parking on this one. It's near the school and it's just, there's no parking there at all.
Yeah.
No. So I think serious concern.
Yeah.
I agree, seeing it. We've also raised similar concerns before with the neighbours.
No, yeah, I know what we said there.
Yeah.
Discharge of conditions, don't you worry about that.
Yeah.
Certificate of lawfulness, don't you worry about that. Right, 5/2017, 1758, part single, part 2-storey rear extension, 2-storey side extension with habitable roof space. Roof lights and alteration to the openings, 11 Bloomfield Road.
It's interesting that 8 Bloomfield Road was there. They job lot 31 as well.
This
Oh, yeah.
one. Did you look at this one?
No, I didn't, but I've been down Bloomfield Road a number of times, and the properties are quite, they're not that far set back from the road, are they, really? And so parking is a little bit of a premium. So.
Yeah, this one, I will show you this one because I was concerned about the changes at the back, they're changing the dormer. And oh, there we go. That's the proposed new dormer, where they're changing it to the full length glass. We're changing it from that to those full glass.
Brief, yeah.
And I didn't know if it was a little bit,
Oh.
it's not as a new.
Cathedral style.
I think it's street scene, not street scene,
That's the
not
back.
the rear.
So that's why I put the loss of privacy to neighbouring properties, because I thought
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
it's a little bit.
So there.
Yeah. And also the 2-storey side is built up to the boundary on both levels. So I've found that I thought it was dominant. Usually they pull in the first floor, don't they?
Yes.
Yeah. Could we recommend refusal?
Yeah.
There's quite a lot here.
I was going to suggest that as well.
Yeah, I think we should recommend refusal for all of those reasons that we've already got.
Overdevelopment and lack of parking provisions.
Yes. Yes.
Overdevelopment of the site, because if they have taken it right up to the inch to the border.
I agree.
Yeah, they can cause all sorts of problems in neighbours.
And lack of parking provision.
Right.
Oh, yes, certainly.
Simply job lot here, 5/2017, 1893. Rear dormer window, installation of roof lights, garage conversion and pitch canopy to side elevation to form carport, 8 Bloomfield Road.
Again, carriage conversion is not a lot of car park. To form car park,
See, I can't see the Juliet, obviously the Juliet building is on the application, it's not on the notes we've got here.
Yeah. Well, I finished the year, I think.
Yeah, did it, yeah.
And it's in the dormer.
Oh, well. Oh, I don't know about that.
There are no additional bedrooms.
No, okay, so we can't say parking.
Because the carport been installed.
Impact on the neighbours, impact on the privacy and amenity of neighbouring properties.
I think it is.
Like you said.
Yeah, I agree
Yeah.
with them.
Do you want to express a concern after the picture of this? Because I've
I
got
think
however concerns been raised.
I think express concern. You all know my opinion of Juliet balcony. They provoke neighbours to disbelief. We can't really stand on them. It tempts people to look outdoors.
Well, they can look overlook the back.
Yes, that is the problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, they haven't objected at the moment, but they might have realised. Could be a
Sometimes
whole
don't
day.
realise it in the area.
Sorry. Right. And to keep the thing going, 31 Bloomfield Road, single-storey rear extension. I'm not too worried about single stories at the rear. It's, personally, I don't think there's anything to worry about.
No.
I think that's fine.
You can't overlook anything from a single story. Right, next one's interesting. 5/2017/1925. A 4-bedroom chalet bungalow with double garage at 3 Farm Avenue. It says 4 on the flash.
Oh,
4 Mr. Ghost.
they left it off. That conference was open.
Is it?
So I copy and paste.
So is it on at the moment? Is it all pulled down? Because there's various things seem to have happened at Farm Avenue. Sorry. Yeah, please, Rob.
To add a bit of clarity, because I've visited this one, and it's very interesting actually, because you've got a detached property on a very large, this is a huge plot of land, I have to say, and so they're looking at building this property in the rear,
When back garden.
in the back garden,
Right.
so they would essentially share a driveway, because it would come out. Although the road, one could imagine that maybe they could create another footpath curve or something like that. But in principle, there's enough room for it, I would have thought. But there were some objections, and one of them was the height of the garage. So there are some concerns.
Impact on the application of the rear of the roof.
Yes.
So impact on neighbouring properties, concern.
Yes. Loss of amenity, because on one of the objections it was being built a few metres away from the bottom of their garden. Of course, not that small in front of them.
No, but, right. So
Do you have the street?
concern on the impact of neighbouring properties is the but it seems like this new game how to build in the back garden.
Yeah, I think it's a sort of express concern sort of thing. I don't think I found a street.
No,
Maybe I just
it's
found
a
out.
street. It's that.
Oh, well, it's, yeah, that's it. I don't think it's a
Yeah, you see,
chalet bungalow.
this actually shows it almost better, this plan view, because you've got avenue there, and then, yes, and so they enter there, it's a huge plot, so you've got all these houses backing onto it, so you want to build it in here, so if that's built there, it's then got to come
They've got
through
to
here.
share the drive, so they've got to get on with the owner of the other property
Yeah,
to share the drive.
So you've got problems with, like if it was a different person bought it, you've got the shared drive problems and refuse collection.
Well, like I said before,
Yeah,
before 24 bins.
Yeah.
yes, that's right, yes. So it's a difficult one because it is a large plot of land and there seems to be a fairly wide space to the houses.
Yeah.
And maybe you could get a
Could we do something similar to how we were going to do earlier, which was like no objection in principle, like not oppose development on the site, however, express concern with the development around, etc.
No, I'm happy to, yeah.
Yes,
Whatever you both.
I think that would be okay. I mean, I can imagine the people backing onto this, then just, you know, they haven't got anyone overlooking them, and then suddenly someone builds a house there. But it's hard to think of how to refuse it.
A view isn't protected
No, that's
in
right.
planning
Yes.
terms.
That's exactly it.
So,
So
right, so we've got express concern of, I think we've got to express concern on the shared drive.
Yep.
Because that means that you can't use the drive for parking on from the existing
No,
house.
that's right. Yep. Lots of amenity to make
And lots of amenities
and there was
and
another one,
privacy.
and privacy, and there was a concern over the height of the garage. But I must admit, I haven't
That's
looked at the height of the
So I'm not sure it's a planning
It may
reason.
not be a planning.
No.
No, I think it's single story.
No. So,
Well, I was concerned about the height in general of the property. What about the unit house? That kind of thing.
and, well, yes, and the, well, you know, especially with the Juliet balcony, you know, the concerns of loss of
Yes, of course.
privacy
you can
to
see-
neighbouring properties, especially with the Juliet
Yes,
balcony.
you can see there it is on there. You can see it there.
Yeah. So, well, at least it draws attention to the officers in case he's missed it.
I think it's worth putting it in because I think that's our role to
And
listen to
the
the concerns.
on neighbouring properties. The lack of privacy and detrimental.
Put some notes down here, which I felt it would have detrimental impact.
I mean, we've got a similar thing, as we said before, the provision for refuse. We've got to wheel the bins down to the, and we've had a few developments recently where, you know, you drive past on a Monday morning and there's just so many bins put outside.
Yes, that's right. Yes,
It's just, you know, and it's not nice if you're in the house next door and somebody wheels down 12 bins.
I feel like that's something that needs to be looked at separately. If there are large developments, there needs to be a single place of refuge or a single place, like, that it needs to, instead of one bin,
Everybody
there
wants
needs
the
to be...
bins next door to their house, but then they do the hand on the collection day, the bin lorries can't get down.
Well, something for, I think especially when it's looking at, like similar to normal blocks of flats that we talked about earlier, would actually just have a communal bin
Yes,
area, and maybe there's something, if something in there, but that's
But even,
private.
but even with a communal bin, who's going to be responsible for taking that, wheeling that down the road, and that one we discussed earlier? It's quite a distance.
For elderly people, because I know all about this, the refuse collectors have a list of who can't move their own bin, and so they go and collect it for them. So, you know, any refuse collections to go take care of it.
Anyway, we're going to raise concern.
Yeah.
Crazy concern.
I mean, it's 4 bedrooms, so it should have 3 parking spaces.
Well, those things here,
I think also,
vehicle parking, they've said, proposed spaces with 8. We've got existing of 4 at the moment, and we're going to have 8.
I think
It's
the
on
other
the driveway.
it's almost like, when I look at the plan on that, it's almost like it's like for a family member or something, that they haven't partitioned up the gardens. It's not like, you know, there's no, it doesn't come across as partitions.
It's almost like a granny house.
Yes, that's right, yes.
It's like that
Children house.
one in up where Harry lives, isn't it? That
Yes.
we had. Anyway, we can't do any more. We can't say any more. We've raised concerns.
Yes.
Right, 5/2017, 1774, two-storey rear extension, single-storey front and side extension, garage conversion, alterations to openings and installation of roof lights, 22 Greenway.
That sounds like an extra bedroom, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's 3 to 4. They've got lots of garage, but they have got sufficient on-site parking for 3 cars.
Oh, that sounds all right, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like what you said, Luke.
That sounds good.
Right, 5/2017, 1878, demolition of existing bungalow and construction of 2 3-bedroom semi-detached dwellings, 23 Grove Avenue. Well, I met Rob this afternoon, we're both looking at it. The plot's big, it's one of the widest plots of a bungalow in Grove Avenue.
And there
And I
are
suppose-
detached properties down there.
There's lots
Yeah,
more.
there's loads, isn't there? Because the ones that the council gave them was the houseboats.
That's right. Unfortunately, it's something which we've got a shortage of bungalows, and they're all doing the converting to it. But
Can I raise it?
please do, yeah.
Yeah, looking at number 23 and then the one next door to the left of it, I can't remember what that number is now.
It must be 21.
21.
It's down.
Better, I suppose, they've got a side window in their bungalow. So if this now goes up, next to it, there will be a loss of light and immunity to number 21. And also, the plan shows that this goes back a huge amount. And I print out a location plan, but I think this is the old bungalow shown because it's got 2 garages here. There's a garage each side
Right.
of this bungalow. Is there in? Whereas if you look at the plan shows these semis are going to go back a huge amount. See, they go back a long way, much further than I thought the semis further up the road.
Is this actually offices in the roof, or what do they call the roof? Because I think this is for habitable bedrooms in the
Yeah,
roof.
that's what it looks like to me.
It says bedroom. It's 3 stories. I wonder we look at it. Too high.
I think it's just if I look at the semis
Because
further up
it's going to have bungalows on either side.
Yes. And I look at the semis further up, they're nowhere near as big as this one.
No.
Yeah. So, I personally would recommend refusal because I think it's just too much.
Yeah, too high.
Yeah.
3 stories.
I'm happy to go with that.
Yeah. Recommend refusal. Overdevelopment of the site, impact on neighbour property because that side window,
Yes.
and height.
Yeah, height, yes.
If it's 3 stories, so the roof's got to go high to add the extra bedroom.
Yes, the other semis, they are mixed properties now, so
Sadly,
but it would look out of keeping because it is so high.
yeah. And with bungalows on either side.
Yes.
It just looks completely dominating.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
Cool.
Good.
Yes, I'll get a few
Right.
of
5/2017, 1960, single-storey side and rear extension with roof lights and alterations to openings, 93 Colesworth Road. I like them said, no problem at all.
It's just
No,
they've
they've
all done it down there,
They have
and
indeed.
you can't blame them.
No. Right, next one is Redcliffe. I'm going to do that anymore. Next one is 1759. Advertising consent display of one externally illuminated freestanding sign and one non-illuminated freestanding sign. Rivers Lodge. Oh. What is Rivers Lodge?
I don't know. It's basically a business.
It's one of those hot offices.
It's in the conservation area, especially.
Service offices.
Virtual services, meeting service offices, single post and panel sign, executive microphone, increased space, measuring.
Oh, that's Hunter Rochester. Oh, right. Oh, I see. Oh, that's in the corner here. So, I didn't realise I ended that far up. Oh, fine. It's I know where it is now. Yeah. Sadly. I mean, as long as it's conservation area, isn't it? Yeah. So as long as it complies with. It's just the corner of Rothamsted. Just corner of the road going into Rothamsted.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's further up. I didn't realise it was.
Yeah.
Because of course it's all West Common all the way up. So as long as it complies with conservation area rules, which we're not experts at. Oh, so you said conservation area, sorry, page over, sorry. Right, next one, 5/2017, 1809. Two-storey front, part single, part two-storey side and rear extensions, alterations to steps and addition of railings. It's a resubmission following refusal last year, 27 Morton End Lane. The reason why this was refused, well, there were many reasons it was refused by the officers of St Albans, but one of the reasons said there should be no extensions added to the side adjoining 29 Morton End Lane, because this property is quite a long way forward, so because the road bends, so therefore it dominates it. And what have they done? They've put a new application in, applying for the side next to 29 Morton End Lane. So I'm sorry, they've gone against previous reasons for refusal have not been addressed.
Yeah, and the letter from Robin C. Humphreys that we got was very good.
That's right, yes, that was very
No, at least we sent that to St Albans on the internet. It has been, well, it's in the process of being called in likewise, so I don't know it has at the moment. I've given them
I think we should recommend refusal for those reasons.
But I think we should recommend refusal because previous reasons for refusal have not been addressed.
I agree with you. I recommend refusal, and also I felt there were some words about the conservatory of the person on the other side.
Yes.
And I felt really it wasn't appropriate wording, I felt, in the application. But
no, they weren't very nice in the supporting document, were they?
No, they weren't. But I looked up the road at one that's been very much extended.
Oh yeah.
But it fits in because it doesn't obscure other properties. That's the reason why it works.
No, it's all. It's a developer that bought it. They only bought it last year.
All right. Okay.
Anyway. Right, one more. Last one. 5/2017, 1921. Single-storey timber outbuildings with decking to the rear garden, 11 Bowers Way. I can't see any reason as long as the materials used are correct. What was said.
The only thing in the past we've sometimes had people put them right up to a boundary and then they're very high and they the
Yeah.
people behind them suffer. So in the plan, do you mean, is there anything that shows that it could be terrible for a neighbour?
It's hard to think.
I mean, they're big plots, aren't they?
They are. It isn't. You can't tell how much of a gap that is.
No,
from
well, I
the
think
road.
that's a very big plot, isn't it? And
Yeah,
isn't really going to cause any
it
concern.
looks like. I mean, that's just a picture there. But
Yeah.
It's like an office.
It
yeah,
looks
and then
fine
it's
to me.
greening, to be honest.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I
I think it's all right.
I mean, and I've took conservation area because that's
Yeah.
where it is, and I've covered it.
I think it's
Yeah, I
good
think
if
that's very good.
if you're train spotting there.
Yeah.
Right,
Very good.
back to the agenda. Right, we've got two letters of objection, both 27 Morton End Lane, one from the Humphreys and one from 16A, isn't
I
it?
think we've received
Yeah.
more from something else.
There was a web comment.
There was another one which I was copied into regarding
Yes, regarding,
Red Cliff as well.
yeah, I forget, yeah, so we've got those, yeah, got those both on.
Got that.
Trying to review to add those to the, right, no appeals, no prior notifications, list of weekly decisions, they've all gone through, application for tree works has all gone through. The next meeting for Plans North is Monday the 14th of August. Sadly, I won't be at it. I'll be at 40,000 feet. And the next Plans A committee is on Tuesday the 8th of August. The next Plans B committee is on the something of August, and I won't be here for that either. I've sorted out a replacement for my Plans North committee, but I haven't sorted out for here yet. It's possible that Brian Ellis might be able to chair the meeting. If he's not available, I've asked Chris to do it, and if there's nobody else who thinks a substitute, we'll operate with three. I will see the agenda beforehand. If there's anything I think needs noting, I will send an email to
Very good.
So, sadly, I can't do it about. I have got a holiday centre. Right, I'll let you switch off all the goodies.